Randy and Connie and anybody else. Uh, really appreciated your email and bringing me up to speed with how you guys met with your kids and when they were born. That's also good. I really appreciate that. And just, as you have time, just send them along. And and in no time at all, we'll be caught up with each other. So that'll be pretty good. 48 years of history and a small amount of time. So, couple things I wanted to share. I'll pick up where I left off. I left off telling you about getting out of college and my first teaching job at a business college that I actually attended as a student. That's where I left off with you guys. But I skipped a couple things I wanted to mention. One was right after you moved. That was the end of our 8th grade year. Going into my freshman year, I played basketball. I went out and was on the freshman basketball team. And we had a kid that used to live in Newaygo. And he had moved away, and him and his mom recently moved back. I think she went through a divorce and they moved back. His name is Brian Fosno. And he wasn't there when you were there. But he came right after you left. And so he was on the basketball team. And, just kind of get to know each other, kind of enjoyed each other. And after basketball practice one night, he had me come over to his house. And so I went over to his house, and he introduces me to his mom. Now, his mom is a lifelong Newaygo person. And even though they had moved away, her roots were from Newaygo. So she knew a lot of people. So he introduces me, and he says, "Mom, this is Clint Abbott." And she goes, "Abbott? Are you any relation to Squint Abbott? Is he your dad?" And that's my uncle. And I said to her, no, Larry Abbott was my dad. I said, Squint is my Uncle George. And just a little side note, my uncle, when he was a boy, had pink eye, and he'd always squint his eyes a lot. And so everybody called him Squint. That's where he got the nickname. So when she said that, "Are you Squint's son?" My friend Brian, her son, and my friend Brian, he laughed, "Ha ha ha, Squint," and pointed to me, and he started calling me Squint. And it stuck, and almost everybody in my class, people who know me and are friends, call me Squint. Even to this day, I'm called Squint. I went back to Newaygo a month ago, December 2. I got asked to play in an alumni basketball game, and that's how they announced me. I was the old guy on the court. So anyway, that's the nickname, and that's why you see on the email, squintabbott@gmail.com. So I've kind of taken over the nickname. Now, then I told you about Michelle and I and getting married, and we renewed our faith. We gave our lives to Christ and became Christ followers, and that was in the mid to late 70s. While I was going to business college in 79, after we had 2 sons, Matt is our oldest, born in 1974. Aaron is our second oldest. He was born in 1977. In 79, Michelle was pregnant again. She's like the fertile myrtle. I mean, just boom, pregnant, we had a little girl that we lost. She was stillborn. Her name was Tamra, and we named her Tamra Lynn Abbott, and she's buried in our family plot cemetery. And that was really a tough go for us because, Michelle was due, her due date was around the 1st of October, 1979. And they noticed in August of 79 some fluctuations and changes in the heartbeat. And then no heartbeat at all. And when they checked her all out, our baby had died. And that was in very late August. And they tried to induce labor, but that wouldn't happen. So Michelle carried our little girl 4 weeks, all through September, knowing that she was dead, and then delivered her naturally on October 5th, 1979, stillborn. So that was a sad thing. That was a loss that we went through. But Michelle, this is how good God is that he just gave her the strength. And she was able to, we were both able to work through that. I remember her mother saying to her, Michelle, how did you ever cope with that? But Michelle, gave praise to God and said, it was very hard, but, I was able to do that because the Lord gave me strength. So that's a little side note, two things I forgot to mention. So now we're back in 1982. I've gone through college. I graduated from Ferris in 82, and I'm interviewing for a teaching job, and I get this teaching job at the Muskegon Business College. While I'm doing this interview thing, my dad was having bypass surgery. He had just retired from General Motors. He was 62 years old, been retired for 1 year, and he was having bypass surgery, triple bypass surgery in Muskegon. And so he didn't make it, and he died on August 16th, 1982. I was 26 at the time, or 25. 26, I guess. And so we buried my dad next to my daughter, and that was within 3 years of each other. So we know about the pain of loss in a child or a parent, and that was real hard too. But there again, God gives us strength. And I remember people commenting to family members. They saw us in the waiting room because he was in the hospital. He was in critical condition for a couple weeks before infection took him out. And they were just really amazed by how well we seemed to handle it. We didn't think we handled it well. I mean, we all cried a bucket of tears and all that, but other people on the outside looking at us saw that there was a peace about us, there was a calmness, even though we didn't think there was. So, that's just a tribute to the Lord and what He can do through your life. So that was 1982. I taught for that year at Muskegon Business College, taught computer programming. And then it was while I was, and a month after my dad passed away, the church we were attending, we had a big 20th anniversary weekend for the church, and they had an evangelist come in and speak. And I'll never forget, it was September 19th, 1982. I think that was the right date. The evangelist was preaching from a passage in the Bible, 1 Samuel chapter 30. The title of the message was The Spoils of War. I remember it like it was yesterday. And the church was packed. And I was sitting, Michelle and I were sitting there in the midsection of the church. And I remember the evangelist just saying this. He was saying something along the lines of, God has not called us to the recreation room. God has called us to the battlefield. And when I heard that, he said, life is but a snap of a finger, like a vapor, a mist. And I knew that because my dad had just died. I was just only a month away from my dad dying. So he said, God has not called us to the recreation field. God has called us to the battlefield. And that really resonated with me really well. And I remember saying to the Lord in that service, I just prayed and I said, Lord, I want my life to count. I want to do something significant. I want my life to count for you. I'm all in. And then over the next few years, Michelle and I were doing youth ministry at that time. We were working with young people. We ourselves were pretty young. We were 25, 26 years old. And we were working with high school students in our youth group. And I had people over the next 3 years where they would hear me speak at different things, and they would say, you need to be preaching. You should be preaching. You're really good. You should be preaching. And, you just kind of file that thought, because I had never really thought about becoming a pastor. I thought we needed Christian educators in the public schools to make a difference. So, sorry about that. My computer blinked out there. So, I'm watching my time. Wait a second here. Sorry. Okay. So, to make a long story short, I do that a lot. Actually, I make short stories long. Um, After about 3 years of praying and just waiting and making sure that we heard God right, in 1985, Michelle and I both um, acknowledged that God was calling us to the ministry, and I began preparing to go into full-time ministry, which meant I had to go back to school, back to college again, and so I did, and I began preparing for the pastorate. So that takes you from 1982 to about 1985 or 86, and there's probably some other things to share, but I was just kind of trying to keep it simple. What else can I share before I leave? So this is Wednesday night, January 10th, when I'm posting this video, and I should be making my airfare travels now that I know the dates that you're comfortable with me coming. My goal is to, as I mentioned, fly out Thursday, April 5, arrive Thursday, April 5, visit some people in Omaha, Carter Lake area, and then Friday, April 6th, drive up, try to get to your house by like 10 o'clock or whatever, and just kind of hang out with you guys and enjoy time together, share stories and all that. And that's the idea. And then I'll fly back the next day on Saturday the 7th. So I'm going to make my airfare traveling plans either tomorrow or Friday. Well, actually, probably I'll do it on Saturday. So I'm just looking for some good rates right now. But I will book my plans by this weekend. So this room that you see me in is an office that I have in our home. I won't give you the tour right now of the home, but we have it's a bi-level. You walk in our house and you either go 6 steps up or 6 steps down, and when you go up the steps, you come to a hallway, and to the right there's a living room, dining room, they call them a great room, and then the kitchen area with an island counter. If you go back down to the steps, back to the left in the hallway, there's a restroom, and then there's 2 bedrooms. If you come down the stairs, you come into a family room or a recreation room. We kind of use it for more of a rec room type thing. There's another bathroom, full bathroom. There's a furnace room, and then there's 2 very large bedrooms here on the lower level, and I converted one into an office. So I'll just give you a little tour here. My office is kind of messy right now. But as a pastor, you have to be well read. So here's just kind of like my bookshelves, lots of bookshelves, file cabinets, computer printers, Bibles. That's where I sit. My desk, messy desk, messy desk. Over here is kind of my brag wall. I don't know how to do this. How do I do this? And this is just kind of where I put things, okay? My vanity wall, brag wall. I took up road running. I ran. I took up running distance. How can I do this? Here we go. I took up running distance actually when I was in my 30s. I started running like 5Ks and 10K races, and enjoyed it and ran a lot. And these are dusty, but just some trophies that I picked up from running, different races here, ribbons here. Way up here is I ran in the Grand Rapids Marathon. That's that top picture at the top. In 2008, so I was 53 years old when I ran my first marathon. and wasn't too bad. I ran 3 hours and 47 minutes, and I felt really good about that. I missed qualifying for the Boston Marathon by about 10 minutes. So that was pretty cool. Another thing that I did actually right out of high school was I took up refereeing. Okay, I love basketball, like I said, and so I started reffing basketball, and I haven't stopped. And so I've been reffing basketball for over 40 years. I took some time off here and there, but here you'll see there's my what is that? My 20-year award, and I recently got a 30-year award here, if you can see that. And then there's me and two other guys where the Detroit Pistons play in the Palace, or used to play, reffing a high school game there. So that's the brag wall. Okay, so now you've seen my messy office, and I've talked to you about some of my hobbies and interests. So, having said all that, I'll do another video probably Saturday. Tomorrow I go out and referee tomorrow night with my crew. We go up north, actually going up by Newaygo. We're going up to Fremont, and we're going to referee 2 junior varsity games. And then Friday night we go back, make the same trip. We go back up to Fremont again, and we referee 2 varsity games. And then Saturday is a great day to relax. So Saturday I'll shoot another video, and I'll make my travel plans on Saturday as well. I'll book my air flights. So that's it. I've taken enough time right now, so God bless you guys. Looking forward to seeing you, and we'll continue to keep in touch with emails. And if I come across any more pictures, although I'm really short pictures because, like I said, Michelle and I went through them a while ago and pitched a lot of them, but if I come up with any, go through my Facebook page. A lot of pictures posted. Probably pick up a lot of our history just on the pictures that we've posted on Facebook, because we've put a lot of them out there. So excited, and I'm telling people, all about you guys and going out to see you in April. So I'm really fired up. So happy we've connected. So happy we're going to be back in each other's life. That's great. So I'll talk to you guys later then, okay? Bye.